Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today, I welcome you to the start of something truly amazing, with it being over 4 years after its initial release on March 20th, 2020, I decided that now was the perfect time for me to jump back into Animal Crossing New Horizons to create what will become, hopefully, my forever island. While my over 300 hours of game time are nothing to scoff at, I still have plenty of things to see and do for myself. So, through this island, I aim to earn a 5-star island rating, complete every museum exhibit, as well as the Critterpedia, complete every Nook Miles stamp goal, and acquire all of my favorite villagers, including Cherry, my first ever villager, who I dearly miss. There is a whole lot of fun to be had through this series, and if you are interested in following along, please feel free to subscribe. Every little bit of support is greatly appreciated. With that all out of the way, let's chop some trees and catch some bees, and jump right into the game. Every new island experience starts with you first choosing your appearance, and the island you will spend way too much time on. I was looking for an island with its 2 river mouths not facing the south edge of the map, as well as a decently sized peninsula and pier. Eventually, I settled on this island. Cherry was one of my starters on my very first island, so I hoped to knock out one of my goals and start off with her once again. Unfortunately, I was stuck with these 2 freaks, Sherry, a sisterly monkey, and Tank, a rhino jock. I had a Tank on one of my previous islands, and while I hate the jock personality type, I did not mind him at the time. Maybe they won't be as bad as I think. After heading to the island plaza, I was given a tent that would serve as my first home, and a map to help me find my way around the island. With my new tent in hand, I journeyed around for a good spot to place it, and I eventually settled on this spot above the plaza, right in front of a natural waterfall. If I grow to dislike this spot, I can always move it later. Now it was time for me to help Sherry and Tank find spots for their tents. For some reason, Tank thought his tent would be perfect right in front of our airport. Just goes to show how self-centered he is. So I told him I would find him the perfect spot, only to put him as far away from mine as possible in the bottom right corner of the island. Sherry, on the other hand, had picked a nice spot on the left side of our available space, so I left her tent right where she wanted it. With all our tents placed, it was time to return to the plaza where Tom Nook tasks each of us with something to prepare for our upcoming campfire. He wanted me to collect 10 tree branches from off the ground to be used for firewood, while he observed the fruit growing on the trees around us. So, after collecting 10 tree branches, I returned to Tom Nook, who then tasked me with collecting 6 pears. But before I do, look at how rude Tank was being here, sweeping around me and Tom Nook while we spoke. It's safe to say he's not in good standings with me right now. After collecting 6 pears, I once again returned to Tom Nook, and it was finally time to choose an island name. I chose the name Seacrest in homage to my first ever Animal Crossing island. While not perfect, at least it is not as bad as Tim Town or Awesome Beach. Everyone seemed to like the name Seacrest, so that is the name this island would go by from now on. Because of how helpful I had been up to this point, Nook declared me Seacrest's resident representative. Now I have complete control over the island of Seacrest. Let's hope that doesn't backfire. Cheers to Seacrest! All that celebrating and resource gathering sure was tiring, so I headed back to my tent and went to sleep. That night, I dreamed about a dog filled with wisdom. What do you mean, cat? You're a dog! I was rudely woken up the next day to Tom Nook knocking on my door. Going outside to see what he wanted, I was given my very own Nook phone, as well as the bill for my journey thus far. How kind! Since I had no bells, Animal Crossing's main form of currency, at this point, Mr. Nook gave me the one-time opportunity to instead pay my bill with Nook Miles, 5,000 to be exact. You earn miles by doing basic tasks around your island, such as catching bugs and fish, selling weeds and fruit, and getting stung by wasps for the first time. Just moving to Seacrest earned me my first 500 miles. My first step today was heading to Resident Services to learn how to DIY from Tom Nook. He wanted me to craft a fishing rod using materials from around Seacrest. Before I did though, I first spoke to Tank, who, appreciating my generous offer to relocate him, gave me a mesh cap. Gee, thanks! I will treasure it always. After collecting the required 5 tree branches, I was able to craft my first fishing rod, much to Tom's delight. Tom also sent me the recipes for a few other key items I would use as well, so that was great. He then wanted me to bring any bugs or fish I catch straight to him so he could analyze Seacrest's ecosystem. But before I started that, I activated the weird ATM machine in the corner of the room. This is the Nook Stop, a machine that would function as a real ATM machine, as well as giving me access to Nook shopping so I could purchase items from outside the island. The main thing I use the machine for, though, is daily free Nook miles by logging in every day. Outside, I left a friendly note to Tank on the island's bulletin board, and started the grueling tasks of cleaning up the island and earning miles to pay off my debt. I thought this game was supposed to be an escape from real life, not a reflection of it. I then failed to catch my first fish, failed again, stared at this balloon I couldn't pop, and finally caught my first fish. The first of 80! Returning with my catches to Tom Nook, he sent me the Critterpedia app, allowing me to track my catches. After donating a few fish to Tom, he gifted me a bag of flowers to help jumpstart my flower collection. These will come in handy, making my island look nicer. After donating a total of 5 creatures to Tom, he gets a call from a fellow named Blathers, who wants to see Seacrest's population of fauna personally. So, Tom wants me to help find a good location for his tent that will eventually house the island's museum. I thought this location right outside of the plaza was great, so I put Blathers there. To earn some miles, I took my first ever picture, and updated my passport with the title of Inexperienced Representative, and the supportive comment of, "You can trust me." After catching a few bugs, I returned to Tom to tell him that I found a great spot for Blathers. I then purchased a slingshot from Timmy, as well as this camp stove that I thought would be nice, and a DIY recipe book that put my Nook miles over the 5,000 required to pay off my first home loan. With 5,000 miles in my possession, I was finally able to pay off my debt to Tom Nook, only to upgrade from a tent to the first level of house available right after. Doing so gave me access to the Nook Mileage Plus program, giving me even more opportunities to earn miles. Back outside, I prepared a barrier of creatures to be donated to Blathers tomorrow, gave some not-so-love taps to Tank, planted my bag of flowers I earned earlier, and repeatedly shook this tree until it shed its branches. A helpful tip for those of you who do not know, you can shake the same tree to collect an infinite number of tree branches. This is something I will utilize time and time again. Preparing to end the day, I redeemed 800 miles at the Nook Stop for the Tool Ring, allowing me to easily switch between my tools. Gazing at the beauty of my creature feature next to the future museum, it was time to head back home and go to bed. That was a scorpion! One of the bugs I've never caught before. Instead of heading to bed, I found the nasty bugger and caught it. My heart was racing furiously at this point, as I had never seen one in-game before. And to catch one on my first ever day was unbelievable to me. With one final love tap to Tank, and some slight decorating, I finally headed off to bed, ending my first day on Seacrest. I hope you enjoyed this video. While there was a lot of progress in this video, there was still plenty of things for me to do. This was just a small taste for a greater series I have in mind. I plan to release 4 separate videos highlighting key moments from my journey on Seacrest in 25-day increments until they add up to the whopping 100 days of Animal Crossing New Horizons goal I have in mind, after which I will upload a compilation video featuring all 100 days of this journey. I hope you will join me in this very exciting series, and if you do, please feel free to subscribe, as there is much more fun to be had. This has been Cobb, and I hope you will stick around, as this is just the beginning. Have a great day.